Hey guys, this is Nick and welcome to my Linux experiment. Zorin OS 15 was released a few days ago, and while I don't usually cover many Linux distros releases, seeing a few screenshots of Zorin made me want to take a look at what it has to offer. So here is a tour of what Zorin OS brings to the table and why I think you might want to give it a try. The basics. Zorin OS is an Ubuntu-based distribution. Its first version dates back to 2009, and the distro released 15 major versions, culminating with the release of Zorin OS 15 on the 5th of June. Zorin markets itself as a distro for newcomers, and tries to emulate a familiar interface with layouts inspired by Windows and macOS 10. It comes in 4 editions. The base one is the Zorin Core Edition, available for free, shipping with a Windows-like layout based on GNOME 3 and a reasonable set of applications from GNOME. For older computers, the Zorin Lite Edition ships with XFCE, and the Education Edition adds class management and educative applications to its Zorin Core formula. The last one is Zorin Ultimate, which is the only one you have to pay for. For €39, you get predefined layouts to look like Windows, macOS 10, regular GNOME 3, Ubuntu, or even a touch-specific layout. These presets can be changed at any time. The Ultimate version also comes with a lot of software by default, and I mean a lot. 20 games are included by default, as well as a bunch of graphic design and multimedia applications. You can obviously still install all of these on the regular Zorin Core though. Zorin also adds support to the Ultimate Edition to help you install it if you need it, and it's an all-around great addition for those who want to support the distro. It's also the one I will use, since the Zorin team has been nice enough to provide me with a download link. Installation. Zorin OS starts off strong, allowing you to boot its live ISO directly with modern NVIDIA drivers enabled, so that you can use it correctly on that hardware. Its installer is the same one as what Ubuntu uses, and it does the job nicely with simple configuration steps and a minimal install option. It also allows you to install graphics drivers for NVIDIA hardware to avoid an extra step after the installation is done, and this option allowed me to boot with my RTX 2060 and without any display issues. User creation is done during the installation, as is the case with other distros using this installer. As expected, installing Zorin OS Ultimate takes a bit more time than usual, since it occupies 15 GB of storage space on account of the massive number of apps it ships with. I expect Zorin OS Core and Lite might be a lot faster to install and use a lot less disk space. Internals. Zorin OS 15 is based on Ubuntu 18.04.2 LTS, with the hardware enablement stack included, so you won't be missing out on too much hardware support. It does mean that apps available in the repos will be a bit behind though. Most notably, Zorin ships with GNOME 3.28, missing out on the great performance improvements brought by GNOME 3.30 and GNOME 3.32. It does come with its own PPAs and repositories, for more recent app versions, drivers and patches, and supports Flatpaks and snaps as well, so maintaining apps up to date shouldn't be much of an issue if the Zorin team is quick at packaging stuff or if you use Flatpaks or snaps. Zorin uses the Linux kernel 4.18 by default, which is quite old, but at least you're on an LTS base, so you'll get security updates and more stability. Look and feel. Zorin OS 15 looks beautiful by default. Transparent panels, stark white theme and blue accents make it look a lot like a regular GTK version of Deepin. Its default layout, inspired by Windows 10, uses a custom menu with applications, search, shortcuts and system actions, coupled with an icon-only shortcut taskbar combo and the default GNOME indicators. Applications look nice, although dark mode fans might think it's a blindingly white theme. They'll be happy to know that a Zorin Appearance app is included by default, allowing to set a dark mode, or, more cleverly, automatically switch between light and dark mode depending on the time of day. This app also allows you to change the accent color quite simply by picking between 6 different colors. Not only does it change the highlight color, but also the folder icons to create a coherent interface. It's one of the best theming implementation I've seen in a while, with great ease of use while retaining choice. Zorin Appearance is also where you can pick your layout between the default one, a more classic Windows with text on the taskbar, a touch layout with the app launcher in full screen and padding added to the shell, a default GNOME 3 layout with just a top panel, an Ubuntu layout with a dock on the left, and a macOS layout with the dock on the bottom. Other options include disabling desktop icons, or choosing which ones you want to display, disabling animations, switching window controls left or right, changing fonts, are completely tweaking the panel with what looks like Dash to Panel's default options. Zorin Core users will only get the Windows and the touch layout. They'll have to replicate by hand the other ones if they want to use them. Users willing to change the theme or icons can also do it here without installing GNOME tweaks. After using Zorin for a bit, I can safely say it's one of the best desktop implementations I've seen. I really like its theme, it has the right amount of options to be fully customizable without being overwhelming, and it complements nicely what GNOME 3 lacks for my workflow. New users will find easily what they can change and will be able to have a productive system in minutes without messing with extensions too much. I feel the Zorin Appearance app should actually be started at first boot to allow users to discover what they can do with it. Applications. Zorin comes with a big set of apps. Zorin Core comes with most default GNOME software, including Calendar, Maps, Weather, and all utilities. It also adds GNOME To Do, a nice to-do list application that syncs with Todoist, LibreOffice, GIMP, or Shotwell, although they are not necessarily the latest versions of each. It uses GNOME software for application installation, and while it's no elementary app center, it's still alright. Zorin also adds Zorin Connect, a rebrand of KDE Connect out of the box, as well as its GS Connect extension so you can sync your Android phone with your Linux computer, exchange files easily, and even control multimedia apps or the mouse cursor from your phone. The Ultimate Edition adds a lot of stuff on top of that, mostly graphics and audio applications such as Blender, Ardour, Audacity, MixDJ, Kdenlive Handbrake, Kodi Media Center, and a bunch more utilities such as OBS. It uses Evolution as a mail client, which won't suit people who want a simpler mail experience, but it's still one of the most solid choices in the GTK world, and it uses Firefox as its web browser. While the selection is good and allows users to get to work quickly right out of the box, I feel the Core Edition still ships with a bit too much stuff for my taste. I like to keep things as minimal as possible, and Zorin goes overboard for me. The Ultimate Edition packs a lot more software on top of that, bringing the base ISO to about 4.5 GB, and its install size reaches up to almost 16 GB. Some users will like having everything at their fingertips without any extra steps, but that's too much for me. Performance. Idle Zorin OS Ultimate uses about 1.1 GB of RAM, and CPU usage seems normal for anything based on GNOME 3. Since it uses a modified version of that desktop environment, without the heavy shell animations, such as the app launcher, the performance enhancements from 3.32 aren't really missed. Everything opens smoothly and nicely, and the system handles itself very well under load. Animations are snappy and smooth, and everything performed without slowdowns. Admittedly, this might also be because my machine is pretty beefy with a Ryzen 5 2600, 16GB of RAM, an SSD, and an RTX 2060. But Zorin seems to perform as well as any Ubuntu-based distro using GNOME. Users willing to reduce memory usage or running it on older machines will probably want to turn to Zorin Lite, which uses XFCE. Okay, so Zorin OS is still one of the many spin-offs of Ubuntu. It doesn't come with its own desktop environment, and it uses GNOME 3 and Ubuntu LTS. On paper, it doesn't have anything to impress me, since I like to have either a very specific desktop experience, like Elementary OS or Deepin, or a rolling release to keep everything updated. Still, using Zorin OS has been a great experience all around. The tweaks it brings to GNOME 3 are simply the best I've seen on any distro. Its theme is on point, icons look good, the many layouts the Ultimate version brings allow to change things up, and the auto light to dark mode switching is an idea that must be implemented by other distros. Finally, the PPAs and repos Zorin includes, as well as snap and flatpak support, make the older base a non-issue. In the end, who is Zorin OS for? New Linux users will enjoy having a familiar first experience and desktop, and being able to tweak it lightly without too much hassle or tutorial hunting. Experienced users who want a simple, stable, and nice-looking experience out of the box will also want to take a look at Zorin OS. It truly offers something polished and well thought out, while compensating the weaknesses of an older LTS base. So thank you guys for watching this tour of Zorin OS 15. If you enjoyed, please consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. If you really did like the video, I have a Patreon page where supporters can get exclusive monthly vlogs, as well as access to the video sources of every new video I publish. I'll leave a link to it in the description. In the meantime, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!